Hi Roses, my name is Tianna and welcome to today's reading all about your upcoming week for water signs. That is, if you have a Cancer, Scorpio, or Pisces, Sun, Moon, or Rising sign. I am recording this for the week of February 23rd, but this is a timeless reading, so whenever you see this message, feel free to take it for your upcoming week. And if this resonates, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. You can also find more tarot content from me on my Twitter at Tianna Rose Tarot, or use the link in the description box to book a personal reading with me. I hope to see you there. First of all, we have last quarter moon in Gemini, clear your mind. This card also came up in the air sign reading, so you might want to check that one out as well, especially if you have any Gemini, Libra, or Aquarius placements in your big three or chart in general. We also have last quarter moon in Aries, work through your feelings. So kind of similarly to the air sign reading, there may be a situation here that has been really heavy on your mind, something where there's a lot of big feelings, especially with this Aries energy. These are things that are, the feelings that are more anger-based, or something that you're really passionate about, and therefore kind of getting this more like heated energy in your mind when you're thinking about whatever this decision is that you have to make, or something that feels just really complicated at this time, something that you've been really thinking about a lot. Those feelings can feel very intense. And so what this message is reminding you to do is to not let those feelings consume you, because not only can they get really in the way of yourself, but they can also impact the people around you. This does not mean to suppress them or try to ignore them, though. This means finding healthy ways to work through the things that are coming up for you. This could look a lot of different ways. For some of you, this might mean journaling, it might mean talking to somebody, it might mean moving your body, getting outside. Especially if these feelings can feel really, really intense, the more that you kind of move them physically through your energy, through your body, the better. I am getting the message, the only way out is through, though. So for some of you, this might be something that you just need to feel and let it pass. For others of you, though, you might be feeling like, because this is so intense, that it is feeling like it's never just going to stop, that you keep going back and forth in your mind. It's really kind of consuming you, this overthinking energy, anything like that, if that resonates. And so I do still think that this is something that you should not suppress, that it is going to have to come out in some way. But there may be moments where you need to just take a break, give yourself some space, and continuing to just actively think about it might just be making things more complicated. So think about that as it resonates for you. Let's see what else is happening this week. Okay, we had a few cards here. First, we have the card Camera. So this is potentially representing looking back at old pictures, keepsakes, things like that. It also means learning from the past. So there might be something that could be literal of looking back at a photo and learning something new, but it also could mean just taking some time to reflect on things that you've gone through, actions that you've taken, and getting a different understanding from that. This Aries energy can feel so kind of impulsive or in the moment sometimes. And so sometimes it can be helpful to take a bit of a step back, maybe kind of enlarge the lens a little bit, widen the lens, so that you can get a better understanding of what's going on here. But when you're so stuck in like very specific feelings, it can be difficult to see the big picture. We also have Hammer and Lightning. So a hammer can represent some sabotaging tendencies, could be something about allowing those feelings to come in really hot and heavy, and maybe expressing that in a way to somebody else that is maybe too impulsive and not exactly the way that you intended it, meaning like sometimes things can come out, especially when we've tried to push them down and not work through them properly, that we can then end up saying things to somebody else that we didn't mean, could hurt them, could make things more complicated for ourselves. So if you find yourself getting into that headspace, it's totally acceptable to say that you need to take some time for yourself. Please try to communicate that to the best of your abilities. And I do still see that you are somebody who's going to continue working on it, that you are very persistent and you want to make this work. And so you want to work through these feelings, but again, this is something that you're probably going to have to go through instead of around. And then with lightning, this is something that is maybe, this kind of more sudden energy, something that feels kind of impulsive, but try not to have a major upheaval at this time. Something like that might still happen. It's actually maybe necessary to go through that process of, maybe you're getting into a fight with somebody and you say things that you didn't mean, but actually they were needed to say. So maybe you didn't say it in the way that you really wanted to, but this was a situation that kind of wasn't working anyway, and so this kind of sped that process along, but was ultimately the right thing to do. That could be with another person in a specific connection or any other way that resonates for you. You might find that actually having some kind of big moment where these things come to the surface is actually what's needed to finally get that change that you need in this situation. But this could also represent that maybe when you take some time for yourself and widen that lens, as we were saying, clearing your mind, you might actually reach an epiphany that you hadn't considered when you were so in the moment. Lastly, we have the beautiful card Paradise. So especially if this is something either on your own or with another person where things have just felt really difficult recently, things have felt very heated, complicated, there could be a lot of arguing, could be a lot of back and forth, you are struggling to figure out what to do internally. This is kind of what is keeping you either moving forward, or for some of you is what's keeping you stuck, because there's never going to be a situation where everything is perfect. Right? Some of this I'm getting the trouble in paradise saying. So it's not about always making sure that things are happy and that there's never any disagreements, there's never any conflict, or there's never any hardships in your life, but it means kind of expanding your capacity for joy, expanding what this can look like for you, recognizing that things don't always have to be quote unquote like fixed in the moment, that there is sometimes opportunities to let down your guard a little bit and not always need to either be right or have the final words. You might kind of be looking back on the past and realizing that it's not worth it, whatever you were trying to argue your point on or something along those lines. For some of you, you may decide that it is worth it to drop something. But for others of you, it's really important to make sure that you're not letting go of something that actually really is important to you because you're trying to maintain this idea of paradise, because that can easily turn into kind of a false paradise where things seem really good on the outside or the surface level, but underneath there's these really rough waves that could kind of really break open at any point. If you feel like you have to then walk on eggshells, or you're finding yourself really being vigilant and thinking that, oh, this could happen at any point, that's not going to end up being a healthy or sustainable situation for you. So keep those things in mind. While you can continue working on this, whatever it is, And it is important to be kind of moving towards some level of contentment. Make sure that you are not trying to force something to happen when it's really just not matching up at the moment. And also make sure that you're not suppressing those things just because you want to feel some level of happiness in the moment, because this is really important to work towards something long-term, sustainable. Again, does not have to be a romantic connection, could be work-related, family, friends, anything like that, personal project. But you want to make sure that you are staying true to yourself. So find that balance, and I hope you guys have a great week ahead. Thank you, water signs.